It's the SKOR North Twins Show. Baseball.
SKOR North Twins Show, where I do not intentionally walk Mackey and Judd to face the worst hitter in the lineup, only to not throw him a single competitive pitch in 5 pitches, then face the second toughest hitter in the lineup, only to have my possible Gold Glove left fielder be handcuffed by the ball and lose a series, getting my gonads cut off in the worst possible way. This is the SKOR North Twins Show. Mackey, Judd, Dex here. Off day for the Twins. We're a week away from the MLB trade deadline. We've gone over plenty of rumors and plenty of the latest, and there'll be more stuff here in the next 7 days or so. So hit the like button, subscribe button for the latest on the Twins trade deadline plans or whatever the heck they plan to do. Later on in this episode, I'll kind of give you guys some of the things that I would like back in a trade. But I know we don't do a ton of game recaps necessarily when we do full SKOR North Twins shows. But Judd, I did a social video in a rage as I left the house yesterday to make an errand happen for my pregnant wife. What was your thoughts on the debacle in LA yesterday to wrap things up with the Dodgers?
A pure blessing. A pure blessing. So we can stop hearing talk about, well, this might, we got to keep the guys around now. Look at how we played. I thought it was great. It didn't make me mad at all. In fact, it made me think more so. The baseball gods are basically telling you, get out of the house. Get out now. So you know what? It was fitting. We can debate the intentional walk or not. It should have worked but Jax, who, by the way, too, I don't know if you guys saw this. I saw this in The Athletic yesterday morning. Griffin Jax basically talking about how he thinks he's probably going to be traded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you know what?
He's tanking his own trade value so that the team he goes to doesn't have to give up too many assets.
I would love to get on here and rage and scream like I like to, but I was actually more upset that they might win, because if anything offended me in the past 3 days, boys, it's this. Dodgers bullpen offended me greatly. That's what offended me. Couldn't get an out.
Quite frankly, they could use a couple guys like
Duran.
That's
what I keep saying. Don't leave Don't leave. You know what? Leave Los Angeles with the Dodgers' top 10 prospects. Yeah. All of them.
Well, we speaking of that, remember this December when we did like a 30-minute episode? We were trying to grab bag Twins topics. We spent like 25 minutes talking about Diego Cartaya, if he was going to be maybe a diamond in the rough.
Yes.
He was released from the organization, and I'm pretty sure this was accurate. He struck out 40 times in 56 at-bats. I didn't know that was like possible, but apparently, especially for a former number 1 prospect in the Dodgers organization. So he played in 20 games with the Saints, had 5 hits, struck out 40 times in 59 at-bats.
Yeah, that's and that's almost impossible. I feel like what's crazy is if you were to send any of the 3 of us up to the plate 59 times, it was 59 at-bats and 69 plate appearances. So if you gave us 59 at-bats, we would for sure strike out at least 40 times, but it would be pretty close to Diego Cartaya, who was once the 14th overall ranked prospect in all of baseball 2 years ago. 2 years ago. What happened to this dude? It's a mystery. Gets to the Twins organization. And
I was about to say, that's probably what happened.
I have a little bit of a differing opinion maybe than you guys. You guys are you're either ragey after yesterday or, in Judd's case, thankful that they've proven themselves to be sellers at the deadline. And I tend to look in the cracks a little bit here. And I know that part of this could be construed as being sarcastic. Like, they played the Dodgers really tough in a 3-game series. They won one of the games. They had a lead in the 9th inning that they couldn't protect in the 3rd game. They came, I don't know, like 8 inches away from tying the game in the 9th inning with the 3-run homer that wasn't. But the thing I look at here is Royce Lewis, again, another homer yesterday. They did pinch run for him with Kiersey Jr., but 2 more hits, a home run, another walk drawn, and so all of a sudden Royce Lewis is up to almost a 700 OPS. It's up like 200 points in the last 2 months. Looks like he's kind of found it. And that's not something to be taken lightly, because when that dude finds it, we've seen it. Like, he can carry a team for 2 months at a time. So I guess I'm here to say the decision based on these mediocre to bad teams that you're fighting with in that wild card race. I'm not saying you should be selling prospects off to buy players and go all in, because you're not winning the division. But I think it's a harder decision. If Royce Lewis is going to be hot for 2 months, you're probably passing Royals, Guardians, Rangers. You're probably climbing up to one of those wild card spots in the next 2 months. I'm just going to put that out there.
That's a huge if, though. Like, I'm not going to change my celebrate. I'm with you.
The dude's been one of their 2 best hitters since the beginning of June. Now, there was a stretch where he was out. It's Buxton and Royce Lewis are their 2 best hitters since the beginning of June.
And I am punting as quick as I can punt. It's 4th down, boys. But I'm with you. It's great that Royce is, but yeah, I'm punting. It's over.
Yeah, I just think it's too much. I don't think you have enough to jump 5 other teams and just have one other guy step up. I think it's great that Royce is doing this, but they're not good enough. I mean, if they were to go into the playoffs today, do you think they could win a series? And I would say no.
And that's not the argument I'm making. I'm making the argument that if Royce Lewis is hot, even with some of the injuries here, they are passing the Royals. They are passing the Guardians. I think they're probably passing the Rangers and either Mariners or Rays. I'm not saying they're going to pass every single one of these teams, but they don't have to. They have to pass like 4 or 5 of them. They're tied right now with the Angels, 5 games back of that wild card spot. If you want to make the decision based on can they actually make a playoff run, yeah, like it would require Pablo Lopez. If you guaranteed me peak Pablo Lopez along with Joe Ryan and Duran and Griffin Jax stick around, and I get Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton playing the way that they are, like that team can win a playoff series. But we don't. But there are a lot of unknowns. But like Royce Lewis showing up to the party is very interesting because it completely changes the trajectory of what this team could be. Can they win a World Series? Not necessarily. But I do I heard what Plouffe said the other day on the Tuesday episode, and there is a certain amount of just like branding that goes into this, that if you can show something in 2 months, is that, and get to the playoffs again, is that worth more than whatever you would get for Griffin Jax at the trade deadline in 6 days?
And just in fairness, though, Phil, with Royce surging, you still lost 2 or 3 to the Rockies, and he was great.
I get that.
So like I am very happy about Buxton. Let's celebrate that. If Royce comes back and it looks like he is, that's awesome. And certainly I think that's why this entire show has never been in the camp that appeared to have developed a little bit of, well, I wonder if they should trade Royce. First of all, you're not going to get enough for him. And second of all, no.
I would fire people before I would trade Royce.
So
I would look to put people around the organization that can better connect with Royce before I would trade Royce.
And I also think even if Royce didn't surge right now, I also think there's a very good case to be made that unfortunately, again, this might be a lost season for him. But I'm not saying, well, 2026 is lost too. So like I do think that there's some good things here, but I'm out on the team as a whole, and I think the Dodgers lost. And look, they just played 6 games. They played the Rockies, who are just pathetic, and lost 2 of 3. And then the Dodgers, and, you know, the reason why they were so competitive is that, again, Dodger bullpen is terrible, and they still couldn't capitalize except for once. But the Royce thing, to me, is another discussion, and that is fantastic. And this is what we expect, by the way.
Real quick, just to get a feel for exactly where all 3 of us stand here in the week until the trade deadline. You said that you're not necessarily going as far as saying the 2026 is a lost cause, but if they were to trade Joe Ryan and Duran and Jax, 2026 is a lost cause.
Okay,
I'd have to be blown away to trade Joe Ryan here.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be clear here. My stance is, the trade talk is fun, but my stance a week out personally is this. I am not trading, certainly not at the deadline, Joe Ryan. Now, maybe, you know what, there's some arbitration angst or something in the winter, and that's a different thing. But there is almost nothing that you can give me that is going to make me trade a guy. And I agree with Royce. Joe Ryan's your ace now. Like Pablo can come back. That's awesome. Love Pablo. But Joe Ryan's your ace. I would trade one of Jax or Duran, preferably Jax, for the right package. And I think you're still fine for 26. But as far as I'm concerned, Dex, right now, Joe Ryan off the table unless you literally give me your entire farm system and like a big league player, which is not going to happen, obviously.
Yeah, if you were to trade Joe, you need immediate things back to make you a competitive team again in 26. If you are to nuke that, if you were to cut off Joe Ryan, trade Duran and Jax, you'd be getting probably mostly a ton of lottery tickets, and you would be punting on 26 with looking ahead to 27, 28. It's actually a good segue because we've talked a lot about, all right, these names are out there. Jeff Passan saying they're going to get maybe two. They're asking for 2 top 100 prospects for one of the 2 relievers in Duran and Jax. If it were Joe Ryan, what would that package look like? It would have to be probably the biggest. He's the number 1 guy, by the way, on the Athletics trade board is Joe Ryan. So they made a whole list of players moved at the deadline. He's number 1. And the likelihood is still very small that he would go. So these are the things that I would want back in trades. Like positions, type of things that could help you be competitive again in 2026. The things that I want back, the number 1 thing, I'll go from top to bottom. The number 1 thing I want back, if you're to trade Jax and Duran and maybe even Joe Ryan too, Castro, I'll put Castro, Bader, I'll put all the guys in the mix. I want high-end MLB pitching prospects. Now, I'd like to say I'd like them to be closer to MLB ready like Joe Ryan wasn't 4 years ago. That's a tough thing to just say, snap your fingers and make that happen. If you look at the Twins prospect pool right now, so Walker Jenkins is number 1. He's in Double-A. Eman Rodriguez has been perpetually hurt for 3 years. He is the second best prospect, but can't really count on him because his availability isn't there. Luke Keeschall, another hitter. He's 3, on his way back to Twins, potentially this weekend, if not at some point, maybe this homestand, which is big. Kalen Culpepper, first-round pick, might be the minor league player of the year. He's tearing it up at Double-A. He was their first-round pick last year. Again, though, another hitter. Their best pitching prospect is Dasan Hill in A-ball. They don't have pitching prospects ready to take over. Andrew Morris, who was supposed to be the guy to make the next step from St. Paul, he's injured right now and he's been mostly ineffective. They don't really have pitchers in their pipeline that are ready to graduate. Now, should Zebby and Festa graduate and be legitimate major league players? That's what they're trying to bank on.
Simeon
too, yes. And Sims actually in the last 5-6 starts has looked like he's maybe turned a corner, which is huge. I would much rather, and I know the lineup has been a bigger problem necessarily than the pitching this season. I'd much figure out ways to win games 3-2 than 7-6. And I want pitching prospects. So the number 1 thing I would want back if you're going to sell are high-end pitching prospects.
Do you think you can get, because you agree with everything you just said, and you also just laid out the case for why you probably should be careful trading Joe Ryan. Like, would new ownership come in here and say, no, actually, we should be extending our 29-year-old ace caliber pitcher on a 4-year contract, $30-some-odd million a year, whatever. Year and a half left of team control, so you do have to make a decision on that. But that's all the more reason why I would, if I'm looking to do some damage in 2026, why I'd probably look to keep him. But do you think you can get that level of pitching prospect for Duran and or Jax? Or if you could, in theory, like you could put them together and say, who wants to completely revamp, which contender wants to absolutely revamp the back end of their bullpen? It's going to cost you, but you could get these guys as a pair if you want to.
Yeah, I think it's even likely that, like, yes, if you did the super reliever combo, basically a handcuff Duran and Jax, yes, like I think you can. I also think it's likely that if Duran or Jax goes, it's probably with like a Willie Castro, with a Harrison Bader. I think both of them. I think someone might be attached to one of them that's major league ready now, like the one of the rental players. The Yankees could do something like that where they get Castro and Jax. It helps their infield. It helps their bullpen. Helps their lineup. Like you basically solve a couple problems by swinging one trade. But yes, it also creates the asking price then goes up because you're getting a major league player, even if he's just a rental. Because let's be honest, even like Castro, Bader, best case scenario, just straight up, just that guy alone, you're looking at maybe a top 20 prospect. Like
Right.
no higher than 15th. Like if a team overpays for that, great, but that's probably not going to happen.
No.
So attaching one of those two dudes or attaching both of them together, yes, that would definitely fetch you a much bigger return.
The Yankees actually need help at third base. So that would be an interesting Castro, let's say, Jax destination. The Cubs come to mind too. Like the Cubs, I think the Cubs are trying to find more offense at third base. I think to win a World Series, the Cubs definitely need a bullpen arm. They need starting pitching, but again, I don't think there's anything that can pry Ryan away that's going to be sufficient at this point. It would need to be so much, and I don't think a team can afford that. And to Declan's point, it would need to be somebody who's either pitching in the big leagues right now, who's a huge prospect and has graduated, and or just a massive prospect. So I like the idea of like a Castro and Jax. I think that's a pretty good package then to at least get a sufficient return, which I think that the Twins should do. But I also don't think that there is a compelling case to bail on 26. Like this division is open. And I don't know if you guys have watched this. Since July started, Detroit is the Tigers 7-11. They've won one of their last 10. In that time, because the division is so sketchy, they've gone from 11.5 up to 8 up. So they're still up by 8. But I mean, a year from now, I think this division is definitely a winnable division. And if I buy this team, I would very much like to step in and, to Phil's point, extend Joe and also say, we're competitive. We're competitive right now. So I don't want to strip this thing down to a rebuild, but I do think that there's a compelling case to certainly make a trade. And I think the bullpen is a good starting point because if you trade Duran or Jax, especially like Jax, I think he's good, but he can be replaced fairly quickly.
Well, I feel like a good organization is able to kind of just churn take starters that aren't going to be big time rotation guys, convert them to high end relievers, and you kind of create a bullpen through your system and your talent. And it's usually cheap labor. There's some teams that are paying a lot for relievers, but the really good, clever organizations are developing bullpens. And then the next step is don't pay them because you're good at developing them. If you can develop them, a Griffin Jax, then you spin them off for something of value, ideally not a reliever, but like a starting pitcher, a young starting pitcher or a position player.
Yep.
So if they could take Duran and Jax, turn them into young value, team control, and then find a way to replenish the bullpen going into 2026. Okay, Varland, you've shown some stuff. Maybe there's another move in there somewhere, a starter now that you convert to a reliever or something. And one more thing on the Joe Ryan front, I do feel like, and we all agree, like, all right, it's probably not going to happen. But the fact that he keeps popping up in these reports, and the language of it is sort of twofold. It's, well, the Twins are likely to be sellers, and this is a candidate because he's got a year and a half left of team control, and it's just like conceptual. But then there's insiders like Paul Heyman that are getting actual information and saying, like,
John Heyman.
Paul Heyman. Yeah, Paul Heyman is
Would be
too.
great. That'd be great.
The rating defending. Paul Heyman will be a better baseball insider than John Heyman in a lot of ways. But John Heyman is saying they're listening, but it would take a lot, which means like that's the Twins saying, hell yeah, we're open for business on this. But if you do trade Joe Ryan, there are easier answers to fill a bullpen and patchwork it if you trade Jax and Duran. It's not going to be easy. Than if you trade one of the, according to wins above replacement, 5 best starting pitchers in the game this year.
Yep.
Joe Ryan, the only pitchers with a higher wins above replacement number this year are Paul Skeens, Christopher Sanchez from the Phillies, Zach Wheeler from the Phillies, 2 of the top 3, and then Tarek Skubal of the Tigers. Then it's Joe Ryan right there, number 5, ahead of everybody else. If you decide to trade him, you might as well start like that. Okay, then you might as well like completely tear everything down,
right?
And see what you can get for Royce Lewis or whatever, and just like plan for a 2 or 3 year rebuild. That's where I'm at with this thing. So trading relievers is one thing that doesn't necessarily punt on 2026, But when you start to talk about trading a Joe Ryan or a Royce Lewis, like now we're talking about a real teardown and a real rebuild.
I did see the Phillies today also are on the record saying they are willing to trade top prospects for high-end relievers. So also add the Phillies to the list of maybe doing a handcuff type of trade for a Jax and Duran if you can get a couple of good prospects back.
And by the way, if you're competitive a year from now, like that, what the Phillies are doing, this is how you should do business. If the Twins, let's say the Twins are, which is plausible, a year from now, same predicament, but they are in the race and they're having a good year, okay? That's the right move, which is it's at that point that you say, is our bullpen good enough? And if the answer is not really, you know what you do? You then spin your prospects for a closer or a top arm. Mm-hmm. Like this is the thing. Because if you go out and say, we need, if you were, and they're not, but if the Phillies were in a predicament where they're like, we got to get a start, we got to get Joe Ryan. Okay, the return is enormous. But to what we're talking about, if you say, you know what, Griffin Jax would help us a lot. And we're willing to trade a top prospect. That's plausible, right? So like that's, in my opinion, that's how you do business. You make trades at fortuitous times, and it's also why you do not prospect hoard at times. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the bullpen arms that are going to be out there right now, it's Jax, it's Duran, but you can go through a fairly large list. In fact, until Cleveland got hot, Class A was going to be shopped, I think. That's probably now off the table. But the point is, like you can find, if you need a top-end bullpen arm in July, it's going to cost you, but you can get them, and it's not going to cost you the house, which is what a starting pitcher would.
Yeah. Can I ask do we have any more trade stuff, or can I ask a totally different question related to the Twins?
Go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. Just something that annoyed me off yesterday. So you're sitting here, and Plouffe laid this out on Tuesday. You're kind of like Rocco needs to be managing as if these are must-win games right now, because you're at this. Yes, it's a 162-game season, and you're generally managing for the 6-month grind. But there are certain points like this right now where you're teetering right on the edge of whether your season is kind of over or whether you're going to sell some key pieces. So this is a high leverage inflection point for the team against the Dodgers. You're playing in these close games and you're trying to rack up some wins to show that you are a contender and your front office shouldn't sell, right? Mm-hmm. And the previous night, Carlos Correa, Carlos Correa's had a couple interesting ones here. The first game against the Dodgers, he did go 0 for 5, but he almost hit a 3-run homer. Like he was on it there in the 9th inning. And then he comes back, has a couple of hits, a double. He actually winds up scoring 4 runs in that 10-7 win. He's your highest paid player, your leader, your field general. Your season's on the line. And he doesn't play in a close game at all yesterday? Why?
That was very strange.
Like, well, but it's a day game after a night game, and he's
We're
got
off
ankle. It's like, dude, like, why is he not getting into that game? They lose that game. It's a close freaking game. And I get that this is one of the worst seasons of his entire major league career, and they might come back and say that. And I would say, well, why is your highest paid player and leader having such a terrible season? But that struck me yesterday that, like, it is season on the line time. Mm-hmm. Most important game of the season to this point. Yep. And that dude doesn't play it. Not even like a late inning pinch hit, nothing?
Something wrong? Like that's the like is there some type of because
well we know he's got he's got
he's got a bunch of stuff, but I'm just saying there's something new wrong because it doesn't make if he's not going to start, it certainly seems that's at least a game that you would get him into at some point. So yeah, it's a good question.
Even with that 0 for 5 game he had to kick things off in the Dodgers series, like he's hitting 327. He's hitting 300 this month in July. Like he looks like might be back a little bit here. He's definitely he's walking more. His on base percentage is well over 400. It was very strange. And Rocco Plouffe brought this up. Rocco was like managing these games like basically they were kind of playoff because their season is on the line. Like where they want to go at the trade deadline, if they pick up a series win against the Dodgers and Tigers are reeling and now all of a sudden that lead's becoming a little quicker and easier to obtain, it was strange to me that Carlos Correa basically just didn't get in the game at all yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you literally had you're up 3-2 in the ninth inning. You're trying to add some runs here, and you got Kiersey Jr. striking out to end an inning. You know, it's just there's little opportunities here and there that I didn't get it.
I got a question about that, and I know that it worked from a pinch running perspective, but so Royce came out for Kiersey to run. Now Royce has talked about the fact that, he stole a base. He wants to steal more bases. Unless there is something up with his hamstring, it seems very curious that you pull a guy who's been that hot from a game. Like, he's not a liability. And I know, if it had been, let's say, Christian Vazquez, right? Or somebody who was really, really slow, totally get that. But Royce Lewis coming out, and if I'm not mistaken, Kiersey, to his credit, stole second and third base. So he did. But once Royce is out, he's out. Again, seems a little bit odd with a player of that stature, who, by the way, right now is performing as expected.
I think that was a okay call. I didn't have too much an issue with that call. He steals second, he steals third. You load the bases. The game's, I think it was in the 7th or 8th at that point.
8th, yeah.
8th inning. So theoretically, you are about to bust this game open, get 3 outs, and win the game. And they bounce to a double play. They trade the 2 for 1. Bader beats out an infield single. Okay, so now it's only the 1 run, which is limited. But I actually think that process, I'm okay with that thought process.
I don't
think that one.
I don't think with Royce playing like this, I'm pulling him from games. Sorry.
Yeah, it's so the just for anyone that didn't see this, top of the 8th, Twins were down 2-1. Royce Lewis draws a walk. So now you have a runner on first base, nobody out, down by 1 run. That's when they elected to pinch run for him, which is oftentimes it's kind of 50-50. A lot of managers, like Gardenhire would almost always pinch run with the guy on first base. And I would take issue covering that team sometimes and say, yeah, but like you're pulling Jim Thome out of a game for like Matt Tolbert. And if that run comes around, it's a tie game, and that you might then go to extras, and now it's like a game-ending hitter might be out of the game. So I think waiting and seeing how the inning plays out is with a hitter of that caliber is now if Kiersey was a better hitter,
sure,
I think all right, whatever. But like the current version of Royce Lewis, red hot, and that version of Kiersey is one of the biggest gaps in potential OPS that you can sub for. So.
In defense of your example of Gardy's moves, I mean, Jim Thome and I run about the same. So,
Yeah.
so like his premise was this guy can't run.
Yeah.
Royce Lewis can run. Like, I don't know. I just felt it was weird. I felt that was as weird, or actually, I felt that was more unusual, just like the Correa thing, than the decision to intentionally walk Ohtani, which I think drew more discussion. But like Declan said, I mean, Griffin Jax has to throw a freaking strike to a guy that can't hit. I actually respect that move. It's dangerous, but Ohtani's hit home runs in 5 consecutive games, and he's Shohei freaking Ohtani. So like I actually felt that there were some Rocco moves made in that game that were more questionable than that, because it shouldn't be too much to ask Jax to throw a strike.
Yeah.
Or 2.
We'll have a random twin here coming up in just a bit. Shout out to our friends at Element Hotel. So if you're looking for a place to stay for a Twins game, if you're just looking for a staycation in the North Loop, or maybe you're just coming to Minneapolis for the first time, maybe you're looking at Vikings tickets or situations down the road, stay at the Element Hotel. You can go to scorenorth.com/element. You'll actually get a 15% roommate from our friends at Element Hotel. Spacious hotel, again, steps away from Target Field and from the North Loop too, so plenty of great restaurants and breweries just steps away there. So go to scorenorth.com/element. Before we get to the random twin here that Judd has, just 2 other things, I guess, if you're not going to get the high-end pitching prospects in return at trades if you're selling, I would say major league players in return. You know, like when Harrison Bader got traded from the Cardinals to the Yankees, the Yankees gave up Jordan Montgomery, who was a good pitcher. They needed outfield depth. They needed help. So they just did a swap of major league player for major league player. I know that was a different scenario. Bader had team control. He was younger. I would look for that. And then I would look for like the high-end bats in that order. So I major league high-end pitching prospects that are also closer to major league ready, but that's an asterisk. major league players in return, and then high-end bats in return. That's where I would, if I'm prioritizing needs at the deadline as a seller, those would be the three things I'm looking for.
I'm curious, like if however far they go with trading their rental players, what opportunities does that open up then for like who walks through those doors? Does Aaron Sabato get a call up if Ty France gets traded or something? Who are like the 2 or 3 players that could be kind of interesting to watch? Maybe that's a whole separate episode sometime next week once the trades actually happen. But that's there's some fun tentacles there where, well, Ty France, I'll just use him as an example. He's driving in some runs throughout the year, and he's not like he's your quintessential Jag. You could do a lot worse than Ty France for the first 4 months of a baseball season. But you also get kind of comfortable because, but if you move off him, is there something worse lurking behind door number 2? But what if you call up a former first-round pick who was a late bloomer but is doing pretty well? Like he's got a 838 OPS at AAA, Sabato I'm talking about, and after conquering AA. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what opportunity brings if they do trade some of these guys.
I mean, Austin Martin's hitting 341. We forgot about Austin Martin.
Zero power ever,
Zero
and
power.
He was injured to start the season. But again, like that dude has a career 400-some on-base percentage in the minor leagues. And maybe he's not excellent defensively, but yeah, like that's another dude that sometimes it takes like 3 years of up and down and incubating until you figure it out in the major leagues. Would love to see him play again.
Joe, do you want to give us a random twin here?
I sure do. I sure do. It's a guy that I can't believe. In fact, I will give you a clue before I give you the clues by saying I did a control F on this name about 8 times because I was like, I'm sure we've done him. I'm sure we've done him. I'm sure we've done him. And I couldn't find him.
Okay.
That's
so we're about to do him.
Okay. Interesting. So here is the random twin statistics, by the way. Phil won last week for his 34th win with Luis Rivas. Judd, I have 29 wins, so I could tie you with a win today in the random twin battle. Okay. Some of the other twins we've done before: Kirby Puckett, Mitch Garver, Matt Tolbert, Ruben Sierra, Terry Steinbeck. So, Judd, that was your first clue.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it too. I kind of want to take a heat check guess. But
well, I'm not stopping you.
Okay, can we both take a heat check guess? We used to do this on Random Wolf of the Week. It doesn't count toward your 3.
But you can win it.
Okay.
I need to pull up the
If you want to do a heat check guess, go ahead.
I will say this, Phil. To give us both a shot, I think we should both say a name at the same time. Is that fair? Because like one of us gets to go first. I already have one in mind, but if it's the same one as yours.
Yeah, why don't we start? Because if you do that and you're right, it's going to ruin the whole thing.
No, how about this?
If you say
Dex,
at the same time.
Dex, you can just take a heat check guess. I'm not quite there yet.
Okay.
Fire away. If he hits this, it'll be historic.
Doug Minkiewicz.
No.
Oh man, I thought it was it. Oh man, that would have been awesome.
Okay, clue number 1. Not Doug Minkiewicz.
Not Doug Minkiewicz. Not Doug or Jody. Okay, let's go. This random twin played his college baseball at Oklahoma State. He was originally a 36th round pick of.
Hold on, I'm going to Control F search here. I have a guess.
Okay.
Never mind, we've already done him. Okay.
This former twin was a 36th round pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates, but did not sign.
Then he went to OK State, probably, huh?
Correct. And 36th round, I don't blame him for not signing, to be honest. And I'm guessing the Pirates didn't offer much. Okay. Next clue. He was a 2nd round pick of your Minnesota Twins. Out of college.
I don't know if this guy went.
I don't think he went to OK. No, he didn't go to OK State. It's not him. It's probably not him.
I can't. Oh, God.
This random twin played for 4 big league teams.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. Michael Kadire.
No.
No? All right.
So now you're 0 for 1.
He was high school, right? I think he was drafted out of high school.
Yes.
Cuddy.
Yes.
Oh, was
And
he?
he played for the Twins and the Rockies. Who else did he play for?
Mets.
Mets.
Okay.
And I thought maybe one other team.
Okay. This random twin had a career WAR of 15.8 in 10 seasons.
10 seasons.
10 big league seasons, 15.8 wins above replacement.
Second round pick.
This random Twins' first name is Timothy, but he doesn't go by Timothy.
Oh man.
Does he go by Tim?
No, nothing
Okay.
to do with a T. Nothing to do with a T. In fact, he goes by the next clue, his middle name, which is not a nickname. It's nothing special. So it's not like Boof Bonzer, who I think eventually changed his name.
John.
legally to Boof.
His name was John
Yeah.
Bonzer, right?
Yeah.
I think it was John.
But this is nothing special. It's just his real first name is Timothy. And he elects to go by his middle name. I'm going to give you his Twins minor league stops, his progression to the
That's good.
Twins.
Advantage Phil here, maybe. See how
Maybe.
Declan knows the affiliates from back in the day.
Maybe. But this will give you this should give you a time context. Quad Cities, down to the Fort, over to New Britain, back to Rochester.
Did he skip Beloit?
I believe Beloit was before Quad Cities. No, because Quad Cities was in the Midwest League, which is what Beloit's in, which is now the Twins' Cedar Rapids team. I think Beloit was before Quad Cities. Don't hold me to that. But yes, no, he was in A at the time, the Midwest League low A, Fort Myers high A at the time, double A with the Rockcats, and then the Red Wings. All right, here's some more time context. He made his major league debut in May of 2005.
I think we've done this guy, right?
Oh man.
Yeah, we have done this guy.
May of 05. You're being so coy on the position here too.
So he bounced up and down until sticking in the big leagues on a full-time basis in 2008. And in 2007, he made a decent amount of big league starts, but he didn't get a full-time hold on a big league job until 2008.
Scott Baker.
Scott Baker!
Yeah,
No, it is
it.
Scott Baker.
Scott
It is
Baker!
Scott
That's
Baker.
it.
Scott Baker.
That's it.
Scott Baker.
Nice job.
Oklahoma boy.
Oklahoma boy.
Became the first Twins pitcher at the time to strike out 4 hitters in 1 inning.
The only
so
thing
obvious, man. Like
The
it's
only re-
obvious for reasons the audience doesn't know yet why you pick Scott Baker. Or did you not pick Scott Baker because of you have no idea what I'm talking about?
No.
Whatsoever?
Are you talking to Judd or me?
Both of you.
Well, the only reason I wasn't sure of it was the 4
We-
teams, and I realized he.
Well, we talked about him a couple of weeks ago, but I don't recall the context. But then I looked him up because I'm like, we've done him before.
I
assume-
texted you a screenshot a few days ago
did
of
you?
a new Facebook
Oh, that's
friend
right.
request.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. No, I completely forgot about that.
It's
I
like
completely
3 days ago.
I
Scott
completely
Baker,
forgot about that.
little
Dude, our
Facebook
training
friend
camp has started.
request.
I'm very busy. But anyway, so that's even worse. You didn't get it.
I know.
His,
That's why I thought you picked him.
According to his wiki bio, his wife passed away.
What?
ALS, I think it said.
Didn't.
What?
If you look at his personal
my God.
information in his wiki, at least when I looked it up yesterday, it said his wife passed. Super sad.
Holy
Horrible.
cow, dude.
I had no idea.
Dude,
I mean,
one of the all-time, like, he's super kind of quiet, understated,
yeah, just
but
terrible.
just a super nice dude and a really good pitcher. Like, he had some good seasons.
was very
underrated
solid.
pitcher, man.
Yes.
It looks like he was hurt quite a bit.
Dude, she died on June 15th, 2025.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awful.
it's brutal.
It literally, in his Wikipedia personal life section, literally says, known for being soft-spoken. I don't know
Yeah.
who wrote that, but
Sad to see that,
Wow,
though.
that's terrible.
I mean, he's what, 40 something?
In his like mid 40s. Yeah. So they have 3 kids. That is so sad. Wow, Scott Baker, man.
Yes.
I wondered, did this? I've not seen him back much for like Twins Hall of Fame. Maybe he's popped in, but yeah, just didn't he? He had a crazy game. He took like a perfect game into the 9th. Yeah,
against the Royals. Yeah,
Royals.
Yeah, it was right at the beginning of. I remember it was at the beginning of Viking season and State Fair time.
I watched that at the fair as a 14-year-old. And Scott Baker was probably my favorite pitcher. And I remember that vividly. And then he walked a guy, and then classic Sweeney came up, all-time Twins killer, and broke it up.
Yeah, dude. Sweeney.
All-time Twins killer.
He was.
That was a stud, man. There was 2 Sweeneys, right? Wasn't there a Mark Sweeney and a Mike Sweeney?
Yep, Mike was on the Royals, and I think Mark bounced around as well, I think. But yes, there were definitely 2 Sweeneys. Boy, that's a deep dive on baseball right there. Whew.
Congrats, Declan.
Ties me.
Scotty Baker.
Ties me. I did think advantage Phil, but
It should have been. I mean, he's one of the literally like in the wheelhouse of the beat that I covered there. I couldn't figure out at first. I thought it was Blackburn because he's a big Oklahoma guy. He had like season tickets to the Thunder and stuff. But we already did Blackie. I think he was also wasn't Blackie a second round pick? But again, we already did Blackie.
he might have been.
So
He might have been. But yeah. Shout out.
All right,
Declan.
I'll take you home. SKOR North Twins Show. Extra innings tomorrow. We're back at the ballpark. It's been a couple weeks, so some content there. Plus anything that happening on the trade deadline, we'll be ready to react to it. This is the SKOR North Twins Show, where we don't intentionally walk anybody.